Hey darlings, how are you today? I hope this finds you well. Now, I've decided I want to tell a little story time about how I ended up becoming addicted to drugs. Or, to be a little bit more specific, how the first time I used drugs. My first contact with 420, Mary Jane, was quite young. My little brother's dad, he produced it in quantity, mass production, if you'd like to say. And so we were fairly privy to that, to the green, and that's besides the point. So I was about 12 when I started smoking, drinking. As I've stated before, I was molested as a child by my babysitter, who was a one-legged man named Crazy John. But I really don't want to get into that bit right now, because if you fast forward, I was actually raped as a virgin by two guys who I'd never met before. I was heavily intoxicated, hanging around my friends. They all disappeared in the park, and before you knew it, I was getting taken advantage of. I remember my face getting pushed down into the wood chips. And that was very traumatizing for me. So my first true boyfriend, his name was River. But for the sake of this, we're going to call him Stream. And Stream, I got with Stream when I was 15 and he was 20. So we moved to Cape York Peninsula and lived at the Pasco River. If you have access to a map, it's in the very tip of Australia, the top of Queensland. And yes, so it's a very remote place. We grew cannabis to get money, unbeknownst to me, so that Shreem could fund his addiction, because he was already fully blown as an addict, and my innocent mind, I thought I loved him, and I really did, because I never had my father in my life. I never got to meet my dad, never had the privilege of that, unfortunately, due to domestic violence and such. So, I'm 15, I'm with Stream, in the middle of Cape York, no parentals. We come down to the city annually. It was an annual thing that we did. And on my 16th birthday, Stream came to the bathroom at the Housing Commission house where my mother lived. She wasn't there at this particular time. And he said, "Here, try this." And used a hypodermic trigger warning to inject me with methamphetamine and said, "Happy birthday." And my first initial response was, and I tell you no lie, and trigger warning, I issue a trigger warning, I preface this, the massive trigger warning. My first initial reaction was, wow, no wonder you love this so much. And then he was breaking and entering into houses, unbeknownst to me, my innocent, childlike brain. I didn't know what he was doing, and then he ended up getting caught by the police, and I went and put my hand up and said, "It was me, I did it." I said, "Tell me what the house was like, tell me what you did." So, and I'll say I didn't. I thought I was so smart and clever, And the officer said, as he was fingerprinting me, I was still 16 at this stage, and this was at Machin's Beach in Cairns, in Queensland, Australia. He says, "Well, you've got small hands." And I thought, okay. So they knew. Okay, they knew that I wasn't the perpetrator of the crime. But he let me take the rap for that. And he was a 21-year-old man. Okay, and it was the Queen versus me, Gailey's Gucci. Okay, so it was quite frightening. I ended up on probation for 12 months, and very, very luckily, I managed to finish that. I had 164 hours of community service, which I also managed to finish because they said I didn't finish it. Oh, my nose is running because I nearly started crying before. Excuse me, sorry. And yes, so that is how I was initiated into the drug scene. So thank you, and we'll continue this at another time because I gotta do it slow because the memories are all very, very fragmented and so many things I've blocked out. And then once you start tapping back into it, it all comes flooding back, and it can be quite overwhelming at times. And anyone who knows if you know, you know, and if you don't, I'm glad that you don't, and I hope you never have to go through that. So thank you, everybody. Sorry, getting a little emotional. It's all good. It's just how it is, you know. So thank you so much if you've made it this far. I appreciate your time. You're worthy. I'm worthy. We are worthy. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.